All right, guys, listen. The only thing that matters if you subscribe right now or comment or whatever you're doing right now, go to the page. What's the name? Oh, go to the page right now. What's the name? I was talking to my friend right there, the sexy Chauncey the Bear. You know what time it is. There's two of us, and there's two of them, right? Those wrestling girls, there's two of them. Make sure to subscribe, like, watch, enjoy.
Queen P.R, Krista B, those wrestling girls, TWG, Black Excellence, making it effortless, podcast bringing up women and wrestling. Let's go.
Y'all, what's up? We're back. It's your girl Krista B
and Queen P.R.
and we are those wrestling girls. And this episode is a spotlight episode. I feel like y'all are loving our spotlight episodes and the choices that we've been making.
Yeah.
And for this episode, it was a no-brainer. Like, P had asked, "Oh, what do you want to do?" And we just like offer up AJ Lee. Like, it would be redundant or remiss if we sit here and talk about a whole women's division and we don't talk about AJ Lee.
It's shocking we haven't done her sooner.
Right.
Anytime we put it out, like, who do you guys want us to cover? Like, people always say AJ Lee.
Right. We'd be like, all right, we'll get to it. But though we're going to do this one first. And we appreciate you guys' opinion and us and y'all telling us who y'all want to see. So now you're finally getting those wrestling girls spotlight on the one and only AJ Lee. Yeah. But before then, P, how are you?
Hey, girl.
Hey.
I'm good. The world is crazy again, so I'm just trying to deal with that. But I'm good. I've been in really good spirits. I started journaling again.
Oh, my gosh, me too.
It really helps. And I forgot how awesome it is.
I literally write down everything. Like, I didn't do it. I missed one day. But I made sure I'm like, I'm going to be consistent. I started reading books again.
Oh.
Like, oh my gosh, I started reading books again. Bianca would be so happy for me, sis. Hey, girl. I started reading books again. I just started doing a lot of self-care stuff for me. You see, I did my hair, I added color. Thank you. So it's amazing. And you just got off the heels of celebrating your birthday. How was that? Did you enjoy yourself?
I'm sorry, that just totally threw me off. I'm sorry. It was good. It was good. I think this year was different because of everything like going on, but I'm fucking 32.
Girl, I'm right behind you. I'm next.
Yeah, like I wanted my 30s to be different from my 20s, and they definitely are. But I really want 32 to be that year when I get back into stuff like journaling and stuff like that. Like pouring into myself.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot that I haven't really been doing that because you start working and things start moving so fast. The show, personal things. And it's like, wait a minute. Like, I haven't taken that time to, take care of myself. So I'm going to do that this year for sure.
Although you're 32 and I'm right behind you, we don't look it. Okay. We don't look it. I'm right behind you. I don't even know what I'm doing for mine. Like, I just feel like at first I was like, I'm just gonna have a me. I treat my birthday like a national holiday. Technically,
it is.
It's a national holiday in hip hop. If you guys know, if you don't, I'm gonna tell you. But I was just really gonna be to myself, take myself to the spa, all that whatever. But I forgot I have a little mini me in the form of my goddaughter whose birthday is the day after mine.
Oh.
She's turning the Big 10.
Oh.
Not celebrate our birthdays with her. And she may be away in Florida. I'm trying to figure it out so I can, hey, godmommy's coming, because I promise you, she is everything of me.
That's so
and
cute.
Trust me, we can hold a grudge.
That is so
I'll have to buy my way back into her life if I miss her birthday. So maybe I could treat myself to a spa in Florida.
I would. Ooh, that sounds cute. Mm-hmm. I think you should definitely do something like that.
Yeah, I feel so too.
You should definitely do something like that. I'm excited for everything that we're gonna do too.
Yeah. Oh, we got a lot of
You
stuff.
know, like, yeah, it's cool.
We have a
And
lot.
people have been loving our episodes this season, so we gotta really thank y'all for the love.
Yes, we really thank you for the love. Like y'all showed us so much love on Ruby Soho.
Yeah,
So
like
much love on Ruby Soho. Like
we've been
me and
putting.
P feel the same, that we're kind of upset that she did not win TBS champion, but the fact that she's a finalist, and
Yeah,
when
doing
Jade
her thing.
her and Jade went toe to toe in the ring. And she's blossomed a lot, but we have a whole other
We'll definitely get to that. But that was one bright spot.
Yeah.
The last couple weeks in women's wrestling, I guess.
So thank you for all the love for that Ruby Soho episode. But like I said, we're definitely going to sit here and talk about the one and only AJ Lee, because it would be remiss if we sat here and spoke about all of these phenomenal women and everything they did and all the barriers and stuff they broke if we don't sit here and talk about AJ Lee.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, we're going to chill out for a minute, get our thoughts together, because you already know we got some stuff coming up.
This is gonna be one.
Stick with us for this fun AJ Lee ride.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, it's me, Queen P.R, one half of those wrestling girls, and I'm here to remind you that I'm a proud brand ambassador for Birdie B, the clothing and lifestyle brand founded by WWE Hall of Famers Nikki and Brie Bella. And what I love most about the brand is that it's gender inclusive, it's body image positive, and there are a lot of unique pieces with new drops every Thursday. And I personally like to dress these pieces up and down for the gym, for brunch with the girls, for a day night out. There really is something for everyone. So make sure you post your outfits with Birdie B using the hashtag YourBirdieB, and follow Birdie B on all platforms. There's always a sale going on, new drops every Thursday, and I hope to see your unique looks.
Well, welcome back. As promised, today's episode is about AJ Lee, and I feel like we kind of answered why we wanted to do AJ Lee in the beginning, but just to reiterate, why not do AJ Lee?
Yeah, she's very polarizing.
Very polarizing.
Yeah. There's only one.
Definitely one.
AJ Lee, and she was such a central part of everything for a long time, but in a weird time that I feel like she was ahead of her time, and it sucks because I feel like if she would have stayed for just another year, who knows what she could have did. But yeah, she's polarizing in many different ways.
Definitely polarizing.
That will.
Do you remember the first time you seen her on TV?
Yes, I wasn't watching wrestling at the time.
Me neither.
But I remember it was on TV, and I was like, who's this little girl? Like, she was crazy. Yes. I was like, oh my gosh, she's crazy. I think she was doing the Daniel Bryan Kane stuff at the time. So I was like, oh, this girl is crazy. And she didn't really look like anyone else. She had the jean shorts. She had the Converse wrestling boots. Yeah, and now the girls get creative, but Liv had the custom Jordan wrestling boot for her match, and AJ Lee was one of the first ones, I think, and y'all couldn't let me know if someone else did, that was able to do that with the Converse and have this whole different look.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wore. My thing is that how she, if you wore Converses, right, you barely got any grip on them up.
Right.
I
have slipped many a time.
Right. So I got Converses I'm over here looking at now, let me see if I can push them on and not slip. Yeah. Not. But no, AJ did come. I remember when I first saw her, I remember just seeing her skip to the ring. Her entrance, just skipping to the ring and, looking really innocent. And then it switched really quickly. She got in that ring and with that widow's peak, submission and all that. And I'm just and then her face would just change. It was what is it, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, or Dr. Hyde, Mr. Jekyll, whatever, a Jekyll and Hyde situation. I'm just what the hell? And she would just laugh about it. And I loved her tenacity, her ability, to just, they put her in the storyline and she just overtook it.
Yeah. she was, you always paid attention to whatever AJ Lee was doing or whatever she was saying. Like, even if it was like an interview backstage, like when she was with like Tamina or something, like, even if it was a group of the girls, because you know they used to put all the divas together back then, you always kind of looked at AJ Lee or whatever she was doing, because to me at the time she was so different.
Right.
Like everything about her. So I really appreciated that at the time. And then I was on social media, and this was like not even like before I was on like Twitter and stuff like that heavy. I would see clips of her meeting Lita, and she was crying hysterically. And you know, I'm a sap. Shit like that just like warmed my heart. I was just like, oh my God, this is like such a beautiful moment because of what AJ Lee ended up standing for girls being unique, being different, you know, being a wrestler that's not necessarily like boobs out, you know, sexy type of vibe. Like, I'm an athlete, I'm different. And Lita being her hero, and then she ends up later on doing that. So that really, you know, shit like that, I was like, oh, this is cute.
I'm just glad we didn't get an AJ Lita match.
Imagine?
Girl. Imagine if AJ would have stayed or even came back for Evolution, and that standoff between Lita and AJ instead of, you know, or even a Royal Rumble. And instead of like the Trish and Sasha standoff, it could have been an AJ and Lita standoff. I think I would have broke the TV.
I would have fainted. I like would have legit fainted. Like, oh my God. I was, when Evolution was like, everyone was, it was coming. No, first it was Royal Rumble. I was like, oh my God, like, what if AJ Lee comes? And then Evolution, I was like, she had, like, what if? But I think, but then I said the same thing about CM Punk. I was like, oh, he is never coming back to wrestling. He's happy doing this. AJ Lee is kind of back in wrestling, so I'm never say never.
I mean, I know CM Punk will come back to wrestling one way or another if the opportunity presented itself. I just knew he wasn't going to come back to WWE.
Yeah.
Although there were talks, like he was at the arena and like he kind of, I believe, like he kind of had a meeting or whatever with somebody. Mm-hmm. We all know how dead set Vince McMahon is.
Yeah.
And we all know how dead set CM Punk is.
Yeah.
And although I watched him very little in WWE because he was out during the time where we were not watching wrestling, I love watching him now in AEW.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like I missed out because I've seen what CM Punk can do. Like, I've seen his stuff with Undertaker. I've seen his stuff, you know, in the infamous pipe bomb. Like, I've seen it. But now, is this a more fun, lighter, brighter side of Punk? Like, he's still going to give you the GTS. That's not never taking a GTS. But this is a more fun and lighter side of him. Like, not to cut off because, you know, AJ Lee is married to CM Punk, and we're going to get more into that. But watching, Lord, my lashes up? Oh, man. Watching AEW a few weeks back and how he chased MJF out the ring and caused him to lose. Now, MJF was undefeated up until that point. And CM Punk was like, hey, don't come at these people.
Wait, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we should really save that for the AEW episode.
No, I'm just trying to tie into how much lighter it is for them now than it was then. Like, I was going to get back to AJ Lee and the Wild thing and how much lighter it is.
Oh, okay. Because I think that's good stuff for the AEW episode.
I was just saying, like, CM Punk just coming out and you can see a different reaction. You can see him smiling more and how he's just like, hey, I'm not here to brag on these people. I just want to whip your ass. And then when, you know, I'm probably jumping the gun a little bit when we find out about AJ Lee returning and how lighter and brighter she just looked with all of the lightness and stuff they exude. It makes you go back to realize, like, you know, WWE is not the end all be all. There's life after WWE, and to see them as a couple still reigning supreme in this wrestling world, it's amazing to see.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm glad they found each other because they have a lot in common. Definitely. So I want to talk about one thing that I think AJ Lee is synonymous for. And I think it's very polarizing because the world is different than when it happened. And I guess people look at women and how they feel about each other differently. The pipe bomb. AJ Lee's pipe bomb against Total Divas.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I loved it at the time. And I, again, wasn't watching it at the time, but of course you kind of like, you see clips and you're like, oh shit, because I watched Total Divas. I was like, okay, cool. But then you get to know the Total Divas cast individually, and we're huge fans of them. And I'm like, okay, a lot of the things that she said, you know, of course it's supposed to be like unscripted. I'm like, a lot of the things that she said to me were like a little misogynistic, I think, a little judgmental, and I don't think it aged well, personally.
I don't think it aged well either, because nobody's talking about it as much as they're talking about her husband's pipe bomb.
Right.
But also at the time, those were her feelings. Like, AJ Lee came to wrestle, like, she was Divas champion at the time. She was here to wrestle, and she was like, I'm not gonna be sitting in this ring working my ass off all the time, and y'all just sitting here flaunting yourselves in bras and bikini and like bras and panties or bikinis and thinking like that's okay. Yes, you guys have a TV show and this, that, and the third, but I'm out here putting in more work than you guys. Like, she wasn't lying at the time. During that time period, AJ Lee was fighting. Like, she was putting people in submission. She was doing that. The Divas, the Total Divas at the time, give or take a few, they did, it's like they did the bare minimum because that's what they were written to do. Mm-hmm. And AJ Lee just kind of was just like, skirt, I'm not doing that. Yeah. I'm not doing the bare minimum. Even with Nikki Bella, Nikki and Brie fought their asses off. But in the time of a Divas era, you have to do what you're told. But once Nikki got that belt, mm-hmm. that right hand that she threw, Nikki became more of a, like, she been wrestling. You understand? Like,
yeah. And then after reading the Bella's book and then AJ Lee's book, and then seeing like their very different perspectives of like what the locker room was like at that time, right. And AJ Lee's perspective is, you know, the Bellas were maybe being favored for who they were dating, or the Total Divas cast was being like valued because they look good, and people like Summer Rae, who wasn't from wrestling, getting opportunities, blah, 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 blah. You know, that was holding things back. Then you read like the Bella's book and they say like how, you know, AJ Lee was the center of the women's division for a very long time. So at the same time, it's like, yeah, you know, I get what you're saying, but like at the same time, although you weren't doing the things that you wanted to do, granted, like AJ Lee definitely wanted to be wrestling more. I'm sure she didn't want to do a lot of the romance angles. And I know reading her book, she didn't like the crazy thing too crazy either. But she was a general manager, I think, for a little while too. I'm sure she wanted to have more of the wrestling that is going on now, but you were still the center of the division for a very long time. Like, you were the longest reigning Divas champion before Nikki Bella was.
And I feel like that's where the frustration came in at, because she was the only one really being the center of attention, really putting in tooth and nail, while you had Brie Bella, who was dating Daniel Bryan. You had Nikki Bella, who was dating John Cena. You had Naomi, who was married to Jimmy, one of the Usos. You had no one never remember. You have Maddie, who's married to TJ, but who also comes from Legacy. You have I was gonna say Eva Marie, but no, you have Eva Marie and Summer Rae, who don't come from wrestling, never really wrestled, but because their physique was like model-esque and things like that, that's how they got this stuff on the platform. You have Tamina, who's also come from Legacy, who's cousins to the Usos, who's the daughter of the late Jimmy Snuka, who's cousin-in-law to Naomi. You understand? Like, everything triangulates or whatever. And then you had Arian, who was a part of the Funkadactyls with Naomi, who, you know how it just all kind of connects, and AJ's just like, I'm out here busting my ass, no ties, no nothing, no anything. Yes, I deserve to be the longest reigning women's divas champion, and of course in 2014, because Nikki Bella came to dethrone her, but she was fighting to do so. Mm-hmm. So I understand where her pipe bomb was coming from during that time.
Yeah, I mean, I do to some extent. I just always hated the whole like assumption that someone is getting opportunities just because they're like dating someone.
Right, because she was definitely dating CM Punk. Or
but see, he wasn't favored. CM Punk compared to like John Cena, who's like the golden child.
He wasn't favored by production. CM Punk was favored by the audience.
Right, but I'm talking about like backstage dealing with that
Yeah.
shit, like her dating CM Punk probably did not help her profile
Probably
backstage
right.
with corporate, because they already was over CM Punk, and like even her staying after like he left. And I want to talk about another time where I think she went off at the mic. And one thing about AJ Lee is she's very articulate and she's very smart.
Yeah,
Same with CM Punk. When they get on the mic, it's like you hear what the fuck they're
you
talking
hear what
about.
they're saying.
Right.
Don't care how many times you cut the mic off.
Exactly. They're gonna say what the hell they gotta say. But the Slammy Awards, when she won Diva of the Year, and I had kind of forgot about this, but she had basically said that it was kind of like a retirement speech, like she was hinting at like leaving, and she put over the Four Horsewomen in NXT as being like the next, not any of the people that were like actually wrestling at the time. So depending on your perspective, that's shady as fuck.
It's shady, but it's also admirable because you see the potential in those who's coming behind you.
Right.
It's shady because you don't want to put on any of your peers, but she already made it clear, like, what y'all do is not what I'm doing. Like, what y'all think you have accomplished, you can never. What she said, you can never lace up my Chuck Taylors. You understand? Like,
yes.
And that's exactly where she was at. And I don't knock her for not giving NXT, because NXT was literally just starting.
It was, but what about the camaraderie of your current locker room? Like, what does that do? But that's the point I'm making, is like, what does that help? How does that help the situation when you're focused on you and not the betterment of the locker room? You know what I mean? So
there's three sides to a story. There's hers and the truth. So she could have probably tried to do something in the locker room, despite what their book says, despite whatever. But we would never really know because we were not there to witness it, to see it, to feel it. And the Bellas have said plenty of times around that time it was very catty. You can see
why.
You can see like they were like the popular girls, and AJ was a part of the Misfits. AJ and Paige probably would have been the best of friends because they were the Misfits if it was a high school setting. So for her to go down and say, "Hey, I can't wait to see these four women, the four horsewomen come up and kill it in the game," because she's already seen, or what she thought she saw with what she was working with, who she was working with, and she was not impressed. But she probably saw them down in NXT actually doing what she wanted to do. And being that she was already on her way out the door, you're going to root for those who are behind you.
I agree. I just think she could have did both, because it's not the wrestlers that are not letting everyone do what they want to do. It's WWE and whoever thinks women shouldn't be doing everything that's doing that. So what does it help not wanting to build that sisterhood? And if you watch Total Divas, it seems like after kind of like when the Four Horsewomen came up, that's when the locker room sort of, even Charlotte said like the Bellas was hand on with, building that camaraderie where it's like, okay, we're gonna like make this happen, because soon after AJ left, the revolution happened.
It had to take AJ to leave for them to realize what AJ was saying, for them to build that camaraderie. If AJ was still there, I'm pretty sure this camaraderie would not have been built the way that it was built. The women's evolution, if the Give Divas a Chance hashtag didn't happen, and the U.S. women's soccer team didn't win that year, and Serena Williams didn't win that year, and all these women did not win in their respective sports, we wouldn't have nobody like Bianca Belair up here making history, the only woman in the top 10 Sports Illustrated top wrestlers list. She's the only woman on that list. Huh?
Isn't Sasha on that list?
Not top 10. Oh. But I saw the list. Sasha was not on that list, but maybe I'm wrong. But you wouldn't have women main events in WrestleMania. Then you wouldn't have the first two.
But see, you're mentioning everybody but AJ Lee, so I don't get it.
I said if it was not for AJ saying and doing what she did at the time, we wouldn't have what we have now. That's what I said. I didn't say, I'm not taking it from her, but if it wasn't for her standing up and doing that pipe bomb, we wouldn't have what we have now. We would still have AJ Lee trying, but it would have been it probably would have been projected on TV as it was when she left, and it dropped the ball on Paige and Naomi to do it. But if she was still here, I really believe we wouldn't be this far.
And so I guess it's good that she
She
stood her
left
ground
she left her
and
mark.
and left.
Right.
But I like to play devil's advocate with certain things because, especially after reading her book, she sounds like a gatekeeper of wrestling. And that's, if she was a man, we wouldn't like those qualities. So as AJ Lee, it's like, okay, like you were doing that backstage. And that's fine because you were being self-righteous for how you feel like women should be represented. And her points were 100% correct. Like everything she said was 100% correct. And I think if they listened to her while she was there, I think the revolution probably would have been better with her there.
I feel like it would have been better with her there too, but because I feel like it falls on you are who you attach to, and we already said CM Punk was not liked, and because he was very boisterous and stood firm what he believed in, and she's the same way for the women's division. It was just like, all right, we're going to wait for them to get up out of here, and then we're going to move forward, do what we're doing. It still took them a little bit of a minute, but it didn't take as long for them to do it once AJ Lee was out the door. If she was still there, it wouldn't happen.
That's true. So there is one thing that I did respect that she did, and it was like in real life. But she criticized WWE for basically like their treatment of female wrestlers, saying like they're not valued because they have some of the highest rated segments. They have, their merch sells, but they always have very little merch, but they're never given like, credit was due. I don't want to read the full quote, but she basically talked about a lot of like what we talk about all the time, but it was definitely worse back then. And Stephanie McMahon thanked her for it, for basically, bringing that to their attention. And I find it funny that that's in February 2015. And it goes to what your point was saying, like, what happened a few months later? Right. Give Divas a chance and all that shit. So, and I wish that she was a part of things like when we watched it, but that's just like, maybe itself.
I mean, but we always can go back to watch it. Like AJ, from what I've seen and what I did watch, and I mean, we were 2004. We were 20. No, I'm like, we were 24, so we was like really watching. Yeah, we were just trying to live our best lives in our 20s. Right. I think I actually started watching it again at 24. I think that's when I went to my first ever live event.
Yeah, I started watching Total Divas around that time.
Yeah, so
but I still wasn't watching wrestling, so that was like very interesting. But I can't wait to talk about some of her like feuds and
I know that's gonna be
all that kind of stuff.
It's me, Queen P.R, one half of those wrestling girls, and our friends over at Ripple Junction want us to remind you that all of our favorite designs, including this Roy's War shirt, have gotten relaunched in new designs and a variety of new colors. And you can get a t-shirt for all your favorite fandoms, whether it's The Office, your favorite movies, your favorite brands. There's everything over at Ripple Junction. And don't forget to use the code Those Wrestling Girls to save 15% off. So what are you waiting for? Go on Ripple Junction, use those code Those Wrestling Girls, and post your shirts on social media and tag Ripple Junction.
We did all like the nitty gritty stuff, pipebomb and whatnot. Now we're going into the fun stuff. AJ Lee's feuds.
Yeah.
She had some really good feuds.
She did.
Of course, my favorite ones were her and Paige and her and the Bella Twins.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite ones, especially her and the Bella Twins, because it showed the camaraderie between Paige and AJ.
Yeah.
Which, if they would have kept it, that definitely would have led to the women's evolution too.
Right, and maybe tag team belts sooner.
That was like the real kickoff to that women's evolution.
Those matches were good. And AJ Lee and Paige were good as feuding with each other or being a tag team. And I like how it kind of went like,
although I was always having heart palpitations when they teamed up. I'm just like, oh my God, somebody's going to turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's going to hit who first? Is AJ going to hit Paige or is Paige going to hit AJ? Who's going to hit who first? I promise you, it was like that every time. Like, those matches kept me on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, it did. And at the time, and you know how I feel about Paige. I can't wait for us to do an episode on her. And because that's when I kind of slowly started getting into it more, when she was like on the scene because of Total Divas. But you could tell like these were two wrestlers enjoying that they could like wrestle each other. Because even watching Total Divas, which, who knows how to truth it is, but she kind of had that same attitude where And even like in her movie where it's like, okay, well, I've been wrestling my whole life. Like I put in my dues, and you want me to come here and pull hair and catfight? Like I didn't come here to do that.
I feel like Paige is definitely like that. Technically, Paige has been wrestling her whole life because her mom was pregnant with
Literally her whole life.
Didn't even know that her mom was pregnant. Like her mom didn't know she was pregnant. So yeah,
just taking suplexes and shit. That's
right. Just like Paige,
just badass shit.
I feel like Paige came out the womb and literally like suplex somebody, newborn people. That was it.
That's definitely how it happened.
That's definitely how it happened. Yeah. The doctor was like, "She's good."
Yeah. Put up her hand.
She won.
Yeah, she won. I loved her movie. So that's a good segue into when.
Not talk about the movie because you saw that without me like 3 times.
I'm not gonna talk about the. I'm so sorry.
3 times, y'all. 3. Okay.
No, just twice. I wanted to see it a third time, but it was only just twice.
Okay, twice. I still have yet to see it. I don't even know where it's playing.
I think it's on Hulu.
If it's on Hulu, I'm gonna watch it right now.
I really think it's on Hulu, and it's super cute. It's with Florence, whatever her name is, from Black Widow. She plays Paige, and Zelina Vega played AJ Lee.
Zelina Vega did play AJ Lee, which I was like, wait a minute, huh?
Yeah,
it's like when you see
they're both little,
right? But when you see the casting, you just be like,
you wouldn't think,
like that. Yeah. How, y'all? How? But they are little. Like I feel like it was definitely the height. I'm not really sure if AJ is of Hispanic descent. I know her last name is Mendez. Okay, she is. Okay, he's one because he could be married into something,
Right? Yeah.
That I didn't know if he was really of Hispanic descent. But I guess it worked. My boo was in that movie.
Wait, who?
The Rock.
He definitely was. I think he produced it too.
All right.
Oh, I just was thinking.
Put on the voice. Don't put on the voice.
Oh, okay. All right. I just like The Rock too. You know who else was a good tag team partner for AJ Lee? Caitlyn.
I didn't really get into it. I didn't. You got to explain it to me because I really.
So Caitlyn was also. I don't know if we said the term like anti-diva yet, but I think Caitlyn was definitely one of those. She was different. She was unique. We should do an episode on her one day. But she, I think, was maybe AJ's first like serious feud because they were like tag team partners at one point, and then I think Caitlyn turned on her, and they had like a little feud. And I know they both speak highly of being able to wrestle each other, especially during that era. But she, there's like a picture of them when they were a tag team and they're like dressed alike. Oh, and okay. I'm like, okay, yeah, Caitlyn is cool. I think Caitlyn is one of those people that maybe, and I would love to hear everyone's feedback, like that maybe was in the wrong time as well. Like if she, maybe came out
now
in WWE, like even like 2015, 2016, like maybe things would have been like different for her. But she ended up leaving the company too.
Maybe. I think my other favorite feud is where, and I just love this one because it wasn't AJ by herself when it came to this feud with Vicky Guerrero.
Yes.
Everybody in Vicky Guerrero, like AJ and Vicky Guerrero. The Shield. Not to take off of AJ Lee, but I remember this one specific time where Stephanie and Triple H were telling Vicky what to do or something. Or it was something with the Shield. And long story short, the Shield, I think Roman put like some type of laxative or something in Stephanie's coffee, and Vicky had it in her hand. And Stephanie went to drink it, and then when Triple H was like, "What did you give Stephanie? I don't like she's not feeling well. She's not there." And he opened the door, and she projectile vomited all over Vicky because of whatever she was drinking. And Triple H was like, "Oh my god, wait, I'm gonna try to come in there, or whatever." And it was just always funny, and like the jabs that AJ would going back to AJ now. I just had to throw that little Vicky one out there. It was funny.
That was good. Oh my god, we should do an episode on her. That would be so fun.
We definitely said that in the last episode. So now we really got to do it because we said it twice now.
Well, this is good because sometimes we'd be like, "What should we do an episode on?" It's like,
Vicky Guerrero.
This person.
Period.
Yeah, her and Vicky Guerrero's feud was dope because then you got two people that's good on the mic.
Right, and their jabs were like, it was always...
Yeah, it felt kind of real.
It was like watching like a tennis match. You just go left, right, left, right.
Everything AJ Lee did, in my opinion, looked real.
Right, of course. And I remember when, Tamina was AJ's bodyguard or whatever, and AJ's like, yeah, you'll never find anybody who's gonna you're never gonna find anybody who's going to go toe to toe with me and this, that, and third, whatever the case may be, like that. And Vicky was like, oh yeah, now you're gonna be in the match with Tamina, and AJ started to be like, and Tamina's trying to not be happy about it, but you see her like side-eyed and trying to make the happy face, like, yes, I'm about to beat this bitch ass, although she did not. Yeah, like it was good. Like their feud together, them together was really, really good.
I liked I forgot to mention with Caitlyn, they feuded when they were attacking, they feuded with the Divas of Doom. Natalya
and Beth Phoenix.
Yeah, and Beth Phoenix. So that was cool at the time. Because you got 4 women that, like, I'm sure they were probably lobbying for more time and all of this kind of stuff, but that's such a really cool group of women having, like, a feud at the time.
I need them now, though.
Divas of Doom. Well,
I need all 4 of them now, to be honest.
Yeah.
Although we all know how I feel about Natalya.
Yeah.
And now I just feel like they're giving her more mid-card stuff. Like, they really don't have a direction for her, and it really pisses me off. Like, I love Natty as a wrestler. I just wish that they do more. Like, I don't see her going anywhere else, but I just need them to do more with her.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, do more with Natty. We should make that a hashtag.
We should.
Or do better with Natty, not more. Do better, because they could do more and it'd be ass.
Yeah, we definitely respect Natty.
Yeah, definitely.
So I always thought it was funny, because you brought it to my attention earlier when we weren't recording. AJ Lee's love angles, like with Hornswoggle.
Like, why? They about to. I mean,
Kane.
That's like the only person AJ's taller than.
Ah!
Like, why? I mean,
they had to do it. Vince loves that kind of stuff.
What
about the wedding with Dane Bryan?
It was something.
Yeah.
Say that. It was.
Well, it was a wrestling wedding.
Of course, a wrestling wedding is always something.
Exactly.
Always something.
Definitely that.
And I just see how, like, they recycled the whole Kane, Daniel Bryan, AJ thing. If you remember when it was Kane, X-Pac, and Tori thing?
Yeah, definitely had that feel. They like doing the same old shit.
They really do like to recycle the same old shit. But it was all fun. Like, it was all fun games. Team Hell No, Team Hell Yes.
Classic times. I wonder, it's funny that we keep talking about it. I wonder if a lot of what we're talking about that was so memorable was some of those top rated segments that AJ used to talk about. And like, how are you guys not putting the women, investing more in the women when we have the highest rated segments? I can see those being top segments at the time.
But I feel like they will only be top segments because she had top men in those segments.
Right.
If there was just women, I feel like they would have been top rated too, but of course they would lie. Nobody's going to outshine the big guys. Nobody's going to, wrestle better than the big guys.
Crazy. So crazy. Can we talk? Can we talk about, because I think this is such a popular gif in the internet, wrestling
when
world.
She got hit in the chest?
Yeah! You know exactly what I was talking about. Because I'm like, remember when she was like Big E and stuff?
He was
Big E. Big E punched the shit out of her. Oh my God, imagine.
My chest hurt.
I'm like, oh my God. But she definitely sold that shit. She kept it. And then you can see how apologetic Big E is. And Dolph was like...
He kept going to the ring. You good?
You good? Oh my
you
God.
good?
That
yeah,
was
no, I would have fell. I'm like, cut. Gotta wrap it. We gotta do this again.
Yo,
get this over. I would have fell.
She's tough as hell. She really is.
Oh man, my chest hurt now.
I know. Just thinking about it, she definitely had a memorable career.
She did.
Like one thing.
Go ahead.
No, like one thing. When people leave WWE, they have certain complaints. But at the same time, when you look back on it, it's like you may not have done what you wanted to do. Although, like you mentioned earlier, her impact is, I feel like, it helped everything that it ended up being.
Yeah.
But you still was like the main focus of the show. Like, I remember that vividly. Like, if I would be, turning USA, like AJ Lee she caught my attention because she was either screaming or she was either going into the ring. Like, I don't know. I always really liked AJ Lee. And do you mind if we go to like her personal life now and the things that she did after wrestling? Because the reason why I say she's a really strong person is because I finally got to read her book. And, she suffers from mental illness. She was very poor growing up.
Which WWE tried to use.
Yeah.
As part of her character. And she was like, nah, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to sit here, and I love the fact that she took a stand on that. Like, if you're going to sit here and make fun of somebody who's actually going through this in real life, and you have views and you have no type of qualms about yourself. Like, no type of anything. Like, I know they did it in the Attitude Era with Mankind and the split person. You know what? Come to realize Mick Foley had split personality disorders. Mankind, Cactus Jack, and Dude Love, he had split personality disorder.
He did.
And it was cool then because people really didn't center and focus on mental health.
And he's not mentally ill.
He's not mentally ill, but for somebody who to be mentally ill, who suffers from bipolar disorder, is bipolar and schizophrenia or just bipolar?
I believe just bipolar, and I think like depression and all that kind of like runs in her family.
Like they wanted her to one day act crazy because her bipolar, and then one day cry in the ring. Like no, you have to be very.
I'm glad she stood up to her.
I'm very glad she stood up to her. You have to be very careful. And what you do and how you portray. So I'm really glad she was like, nah, we're not going to sit here and use my real life as a storyline for y'all to get some jokes out of, because that's not, look what happened to Luna.
Right.
Luna needed it. Luna needed it.
Scary example.
It's very hard to differentiate Luna the character.
Right.
And I don't know Luna's real name. But Luna as a person. And look what happened. She's no longer with us.
Yep. Self-medicating. And like that's something AJ Lee didn't want to do. And we can't, like you mentioned earlier, you can't really talk about AJ Lee without talking about CM Punk. Because I feel like they both stand for the same thing. They're both straight edge. And I love, although, we talked about how disappointed we are that she retired so early, but I love that she was able to find a life outside of wrestling. Like, because she doesn't think back on her last, year or so in WWE fondly. So the fact that she was able to leave wrestling and be fulfilled how she is being, a writer, I think is the cool. And she always wanted to be one. So I'm like, that's the coolest thing. She writes, comic books and shit and superhero movies. And
I feel like she gives us anime vibes. So I feel like...
Oh, absolutely.
She gives us anime vibes. I don't know all the animes. I know the main name.
All I know is her last name was named after an anime character.
Okay.
Wait, that's all I know. Don't ask me.
I'm more of a Sailor Moon type girl.
I love Sailor Moon.
Sailor Moon, Mercury, Mousy.
Oh yeah.
But, yeah, AJ Lee, I'm really happy. I have to read her book. Crazy is My Superpower. It was definitely on the New York Times bestsellers list. I really have to read it. I want to get to know her a little better. Like, P would literally be like, oh, a Wrestle book is out? And I won't hear from her for 3 days. Like, what are you doing? What?
It took me a while to read her book, too. But what made me want to read her book is because of the Bella's book. And I was like, okay, now I got to see. Because like you said, it's 3 sides to every story. So I'm like, all right, if they're saying this, I don't know what you're saying. And then everyone would say how inspirational her book is. And I tell people, I remember at the time I was reading it last year, one of my coworkers, she started a book club, and I was like, everybody knows I like wrestling at work. I was like, even if you don't like wrestling, you are going to enjoy AJ Lee's book. It is a story of overcoming, as cheesy as it sounds, it really is a story of overcoming so many hurdles that you can't even imagine before she even became 18. And then just always trying no matter what. She had her moments where she had a suicide attempt. She's had it hard, but the fact that now she's on the other side of it and found a life after wrestling, I think it's such an inspiring story, period. I think you're gonna be like, oh my God, this is great. After you finish it.
It's crazy. I have to really finish the Bella's book too. I feel like when we was having our book club, a lot of things got in my way, and you were just like, oh my, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not reading no more. I got other things to do, but I can't finish it.
I feel you.
But I need the hard copies in my hand because doing it on my phone is cute and all, but I need like the hard copies. So I can add it to my collection when I'm done, and So definitely Bella's book, AJ Lee's book, and I want to go back to reading Mankind's book.
Oh, I've never read Mankind's book.
I want to read Mick Foley. We had several, so I want to read the very first one.
And he's another one that's just a good writer, period.
Good writer, good rest. Can we please, y'all, we need Mick Foley on here. Seriously.
He followed us. He's good people. He tweeted about the insurrection today. And I was like, yes, Mankind. Like, he does not hold the punches.
Well, he tweeted about the insurrection on the 6th. Yeah. When it happened. Not today. Girl, where your mind at?
I don't know if I said today, but I love that he stood up for it,
He's very real and vocal. I would love to have Mick Foley on this show. Like, Mick Foley be the first male wrestler to be ever graced those wrestlers.
I would literally just like he was one of my absolute favorites. We should do like a top 10 male wrestlers on Patreon or something.
Y'all stick out for it.
Yeah, we should do that. But let's talk about something else that she's done recently that is definitely polarizing.
We can't end it without talking about it.
Yes. So when CM Punk came back to AEW, great moment, a moment I literally would have bet you money would never happen. It happened. It was a great moment. Now, of course, it's like, okay, it's AJ Lee going to join you. Although she's been very vocal about never wanting to wrestle again. Her body's beat the fuck up, whatever the case. Then she does get back into wrestling, which is something that I think is dope. Besides everything else, it's a very dope thing. Wow. Superheroes is coming back. All female promotion. One of the first that's been doing it. It's going to be on CBS. This is all dope. Huge.
And we're all excited. Wrestling Twitter's excited.
Yes. She's an executive producer. Excited.
Everybody's excited. And then bombshell. Tessa Blanchard
is like their star. And I hate to say that dampers it for me, but it dampers it for me. And I was so excited for AJ Lee because just being a fan of her, I'm like, she doesn't want to get in the ring. Being an executive producer, writer, creator, that's right up her alley. She doesn't have to fucking beat her body up. She can mentor other female wrestlers. Perfect. But then to have Tessa as the main person is very like, really? This is what
we're doing? I'm just like, why?
There's like a picture. Oh, go ahead, girl.
Choking on the chip. Sorry. And myself and P, we had this conversation when it first was announced. And a friend of mine, who I love dearly, she actually texted me and was like, why? Because I guess she saw all the tweets and stuff. Why is everybody so mad at Tessa? Da 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 da. Why is Tessa trending? Like, what is happening?
Let me tell you.
Lo and behold, she grew up with Tessa. They were in the same class when they was like younger, and she was like, she never gave off what she's giving off now. I said, yes, Tessa's racist. She's a bully. She doesn't like anybody but herself. She's self-centered. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. We know this.
Yeah.
And my friend, who's like us, of course, she was really surprised taking it back. She was like, Tessa never gave me those vibes. She was always the sweetest girl. She was this, that, and third. I said, yeah, but you grew up in the South. I said, when your dad is a wrestler and a legend, and you grew up in the South, or you got to be real about it. It's bound to happen. It's bound to come out, but not come out in a way where you're walking around thinking that your shit don't sting and it's not gonna backfire, because that's how all this stuff came out in the first place.
Right.
Somebody else did me. I think we were talking about Kiara Hogan at the time, and Tessa went to put her 2 cents in, and that's how everything like went on her. If you would have minded your business,
right? And that was one of those things like if you would have just sat there and ate your food, and it was the weekend right before she was gonna make history as a first female world champion. Well, she did make history, but it ruined the moment. Because it came out that she was all of these things. And then the same thing with Wow Superheroes. It's like, I love seeing that picture of AJ Lee on the podium, and then you see like Tessa on the right. And it's just like, for me, it was very confusing because that doesn't stand for what I would think AJ Lee stood for. I'm just like, maybe she's into giving people second chances. I just can't forgive someone that uses the hard R. Spitting in black girls' faces is no coming back.
First of all, let me tell you something. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your profession is. I don't care anybody. Like, you could be, I don't care. There's no way that I will ever support somebody who's definitely a part of the hard R, who definitely feels the need they can sit here and demean me or belittle me or minimize me and how I feel, whatever, because of the color of my skin. I don't care who you are, where you from. I don't care what time period you came from. You could have been sitting up there with Jesus. At the end of the day, you're not going to disrespect me. You're not going to sit here and talk to me because I'm not my ancestors. My ancestors will guide my hands to your face.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
Will guide my tongue to give you a few words or two. You understand? So you can miss me with that.
And then the other thing I don't like about the situation is that the WoW champion right now is the Beast, who's a black woman. So
why is her name the Beast?
That's her name. She's pretty hardcore.
Did she choose that name for herself?
She did. And she's very aggressive. She's very powerful. So my thing is with that is she going to drop that belt to Tessa one day? Because they're definitely centering everything around Tessa. They released the t-shirt that said that she was nuclear. So they are capitalizing on the controversy. So it's like you guys are addressing it. And that's the other thing that's like weird, but again, wrestling is that weird world where polarizing is good.
You know what's also nuclear? Roaches.
Rats.
Godzilla.
But yeah. So yeah, I was surprised AJ Lee was but I'm happy for this opportunity for her and for women's wrestling being on another major channel. So I mean, I guess gotta look at the bright side. So good for you, AJ.
Good for you, AJ. We here for you, not here for Tessa, but you know that's a sound off for another day.
It is.
And if anybody wants to step to me about it, you can gladly come into my squared circle.
Gladly. I don't know if we talked about it real quick, but she has one of the best finishers to me. Like, and she's the perfect size to do it.
Yeah, I want to learn it, but I'm too damn tall.
Yo, your legs are dumb long.
My legs is long. Like,
and I'm too heavy.
Stupid. No, you're not. My legs is really long, and I have no muscle mass. Like, I hit hard, but you know, holding shit up for a long time is not me. It's not me. But the Widow's Peak,
that shit fire.
Fire. I feel like she has one of the best finishers.
I agree. Ooh, that's
one of the best finishers.
One.
Oh, we should do Brain Blast. We should do an episode exclusively for Patreon. Top 10 best finishers.
Oh my god, I love it. And you guys should become a patron because it's only $1 a month.
Facts. Like,
weekly content.
And I think that little sound off about Miss Tessa.
We have a couple because we were hot.
Oh yeah, we do have a couple about Tessa.
We were hot.
And I'm not giving her this woman.
Yeah, fuck her.
Any more energy.
Back to AJ Lee. We gonna watch from afar and see what it be like.
Let me start stretching now.
Right.
Yeah. But no, we're definitely happy and excited for to see what's to come with AJ Lee and with WoW and with everything. We're so happy that we was able to cover her today. Sis, we need you on the show. I need to meet you in the gym.
To
how to do the Widow's Peak. Because I really want to learn how to do it. At least I could put on my nephew.
Did you hear what CM Punk said about her recently?
When he shouted her out in the ring? When he first came back?
No, in like an interview, or maybe he tweeted it or something, because they were like, AJ Lee has been thinking about wrestling again, and he was like, that would be cool, but I know she's gonna want to get in like crazy shape, and like I like her thick, so that puts me right out. Like, okay, so he said that puts him in a little bit difficult position. I'm like, I feel you.
Come on, thickness.
Yes, I feel you, AJ. And then she feels free. She had body image. Like now she's probably living her best life, being confident. If AJ Lee doesn't want to wrestle again, I'm personally okay with that. Now, if she want to come out her little once, who knows what she's planning to do in WoW.
I don't think I've ever seen her wrestle when I was at a live event. I'm pretty sure I have, but I'm pretty sure I haven't. So I just want to like hear her music in a WWE arena or ring just one more time, just so I can say that I was there to hear it.
Yeah, I saw her at a house show.
I feel like I've seen her at a house show, but I don't have the footage. Like I'll have to look.
I know, and that's before we like kind of was like into it. Like
Right.
I remember my boyfriend at the time was like, oh, you know, Raw's at. I mean, there's a house show at like Prudential or something. He's like, going to go. I was like, sure. All I knew at the time was Taboo John Cena. And I remember Sheamus being fucking pale as fuck in person. Like, he's bright. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
That probably had to be like 2012, 2013, maybe.
Yeah, he got a little bit of color now.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But this was fun.
This was fun. I really liked this.
Enjoyed doing this episode.
I really did.
If you're not following us, I don't know why at this point, but you guys should. Those Wrestling Girls everywhere. Just make sure you follow us. Just make sure you subscribe. Just make sure you share. Make sure you be on Patreon. Literally, we're Those Wrestling Girls everywhere. Let us know who we should do an episode on next. I'm pretty sure me and P know who we're gonna talk about next, but we just want to hear your opinion. Something we haven't covered.
I like doing the polls, like us choosing, and then so thank you. Your feedback in the comments on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. You don't understand how much we appreciate it because it really helps us, you know, do the show. Fans collaborating still.
It's really, really dope. And on that note, it's your girl Krista B
and Queen P.R.
We're out. Bye.
Queen P.R, Krista B, those wrestling girls, TWG, Black excellence, making it effortless. Podcast bringing up women and wrestling. Let's go.